Team 0% is on a mission to clear every level in Super Mario Maker 2. Currently, they're going through the year 2023. Unfortunately for them, that means that they have to clear this level. So this exists because I wanted a short level with as many tight timing tricks as possible. But I didn't want it to be a puzzle, so I can explain how the tricks work. The first one maybe doesn't need an explanation. You have to roll into the cat suit. I've been told this rarely gets you the cat suit, but that's kind of the point. Roll into the cat suit, bounce off the skip squeak, hit this to clear it for climbing back up this wall. We need to make our way to this key door here. The next trick is where the subtle cat mechanics start to come in, or as everyone else likes to call it, 3D world jank. Here you need to not get crushed by the swamp, which kills you even before it breaks the block. That happens because an idle cat's hitbox is a little wider than a single tile. So to not get crushed by the thwomp, we have to make ourselves into a single tile. And the way you do that is by spinning, holding up in Z, like this. And then you also need to jump off the block before it's broken. And I can totally do this all the time, and I'm really good at it. So if we can pretend that I actually got the first roll, got the spin jump, and cleared the piranha out of the way, now I'd be climbing up the wall to get to the key door. And this part is the most subtle part with the cat suit. So normally we can only climb so high, but we could climb a second time if we somehow leave the wall and get back to the wall. Usually this is done by wall jumping, but there's spikes there so you would lose the cat suit. So we need to drop off of the wall and then cling back onto it. But if we just do that, as you can see, you start falling back down without getting the right amount of height. And so what we need to do is cat dive and hope we get up there. You have to be careful because you can't dive right away, otherwise you still will not make it. Hopefully this graphic can help us see why 3D World is like this. So the second cat climb is going to give the same vertical distance up the wall whether you drift into the wall or dive into the wall. So what matters is how much you fall in between the two cat climbs. So normally when we're falling, we start out at 0 falling speed and gradually increase at a constant rate until hitting maximum falling speed. And for a cat, if you dive, you instantly get to around half of normal maximum falling speed and stay that way the whole time you're cat diving.
Area under this curve will represent how much you've fallen. We want to minimize the area under the curve by starting out in free fall and then going into cat dive. If we start out in cat dive, we're going to pick up this area over here. And if we free fall too long before cat diving, we're going to pick up this area up here.
So if we make it to the top of the wall, we have to get the key out of the block. And usually there's a bunch of ways to get that key with the cat suit. But now we're under time pressure from the thwomp. So we have to dive into it as soon as we pop off the wall from climbing to the top of it.
Alright, now if we continue pretending that I'm not just phoning it in and actually playing the level.
We gotta drop this Koopa by breaking these 2 blocks, and we gotta push this crate by hitting this exclamation block 3 times. And that's the other tricky part about this level. The first time we hit the coin block, we want to hit the exclamation block by doing a claw. And we have to do it as soon as that block breaks and snaps us out of the cat climbing state. Because if we do it any later, we're going to fall and start climbing into this spike. And then the second time, the only way to hit this twice, we need to dive as soon as the top block breaks. So the reason you're able to hit the shell. The reason you're able to hit the exclamation block twice while cat diving is that the cat dive's attack hitbox will stay active the whole time you're diving. That allows you to hit it more than once, but you have to do it immediately because there's a period of a few frames after hitting it the first time where it can't be hit again. So if you don't dive immediately, then you'll be too low to hit it the second time when that lockout period ends. Claw, dive, I missed both. Once that Koopa is falling, and the crate is falling as well, we want to be able to land on the Koopa after it breaks this block. Because of the time limit, we can't just ground pound cancel. Instead, we have to grab this wall on the left and immediately drop off of it. We also have to press Z to drop off this wall because we can't wall jump. And if we don't drop off the wall, we'll slide into this spike. And you'll also start sliding on the tile to the left there.
You don't want to grab that shell.
Well, that's what it looks like if you hold Y again too late and don't move forward enough to land on the donut blocks. And if you did land on the donut blocks, you would just want to run off of them and ground pound into the crate and also go through the door on the crate. So this is one of the easier tricks because that's a whole 3 frames, whereas almost everything else is just 1 or 2. Once you get out of the door, you have to make a cat claw right away, because once again, the cat being a little wider than a tile is going to make this block push us back into the fire flower.
So if we didn't claw first frame, we would get this fire flower even if the conveyor weren't there. It's just there to be symmetric with this one.
And after you break this block, you have to already be holding right so that you can make it under this fire flower and into the next door without running into this fire flower. And then we got one more first frame trick to do. This time we have to do a ground dive. So we have to instantly ground dive to not get hit by the spiny, and we also have to do an instant ground dive in order to interact with this block the correct way. We need to clip into that block and break it so that we fall out of the ground dive state. And if you don't do it first frame, what happens is this wall right here is going to make the wider than a tile hitbox push us forward a bit. But we need to be in this exact spot to do the ground dive and get the clip. And once you do get the clip, you can turn around and dive normally from the air. And that's how you get the goal. Good luck, have fun.